Good afternoon, or depending on where you're joining us from, good morning or good evening. I'm Dan Shine, Senior Editor at Automotive News. This is a Congress Conversations live stream live from the Automotive News studios in the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. So the Automotive News Research and Data Center recently published its 2025 list of the top 100 dealership groups based in the U.S., ranked by service and parts revenue and body shop revenue. Combined, the top 100 dealerships, 4,153 service departments, generated just over $43 billion in service and parts revenue. The average service and parts revenue per dealership in 2024 was $10.4 million. Sampac Automotive Group, with 6 dealerships deep in the heart of Texas, had an average service and parts revenue of $30.1 million per dealership, tops on our list. You can become an all-access subscriber to the data center and get these numbers, the top 150 dealership groups overall, top 100 groups based on used vehicle sales, top global parts suppliers, U.S. new vehicle registrations, and much, much more. The service and parts numbers, along with body shop numbers, show the continued importance of fixed ops to a dealership's bottom line health. Recession, COVID, chips shortages, inventory shortages, high sticker prices, high interest rates, all these things that make it tough for a dealership to sell a vehicle has been mitigated by the service and parts departments. So we wanted to gather today to talk about what dealership service and parts departments need to do to continue to be profitable and vital to dealership operations. So I'm joined by my Automotive News colleague, Paige Hodder, who is in Portland, Oregon. Paige, hello.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. We're also glad to welcome 3 special guests. Richard Lupo is Fixed Ops Director at Appletree Honda. He joins us from the Appletree Service Department in Asheville, North Carolina. Hey, Richard.
Thanks for having us, Dan. Glad to be here.
We also have with us Salvo Sparacio, Senior Vice President of After Sales at Holman, which grew its service and parts revenue 48% from 2023 to 2024, second best on our data center list. We're also grateful to Salvo for delaying a flight down to North Carolina in order to join us. Salvo, thanks so much. Great to have you.
Oh, Dan, my pleasure. Thanks for having us.
And last but certainly not least, a longtime friend of the program, dating back to the old Fixed Ops Journal Forum days. It's Lee Harkins, CEO of M5 Management Services, joining us from Sweet Home, Alabama. Lee, great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's in here.
Before we get into all the fun, we need to thank our sponsor, Dealer Merchant Services. So thanks to them. We appreciate it. We're going to have a great conversation today, and we want you to be in the audience to be a part of it. Say hi in the chat and tell us where you are. It's always fun to see the breadth of our audience. But even better, if you have questions, put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to get an answer. Always more of me, less of me, more of you. That's a good thing. So to start us off, Lee, when I texted you and asked you to be a part of this and said, what should we talk about? And you said back simply, growing customer pay labor.
Sure.
So let's start there. Tell me why that's important.
I think it's a great place to start. What I'm seeing in a lot of stores that I've been in the last 6 to 8 months is that year over year customer pay sales are flat or are dropping. And I think there's a number of different issues on why that's happening. I think number one, in the stores that I've been in, the management and leadership of the department is not focused on generating the customer pay because they were able to get increases in their warranty rates in some cases and their parts markup, and they're getting more gross coming from that category of their business. And customer pay in a lot of stores has become a second tier, so to speak. Well, as you all know, your variable dependency, if it gets too high, then we're susceptible to the fluctuation in new car sales and used car sales. If too much of our business in fixed is dependent on that sale, then we're going to participate in the cycles of the business, and that's what we don't want to do. So customer pay is the one category of labor that we have really, I think, direct control over, and we've got to be on that business, focused on that business like a dog on a bone, and we got to be fighting every single day to keep growing that business and I don't have a lot of standards and benchmarks, but one of the things that I'm finding is that customer pay is, in some cases, a store I was in last week is in the 30s of their total percentage of their business, which means 70% of their business is based on the sale of a vehicle, either future or past. Not a good point to be in, because we all know car sales are going to fluctuate and going to go up and down, and we don't want to participate in that. So I think that customer paid business is a huge opportunity in a lot of stores right now.
Salvo, go ahead, Lee. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to tell you, it's never good enough. No matter where you are from a growth standpoint in customer pay, it's never good enough. We still have tremendous opportunity here.
Salvo, I'll go to you. How are you with customer pay and keeping that as kind of a focus on that point?
Yeah, I mean, what Lee's saying is directionally accurate, right? We got to do a little bit more with less. We know there's an impact of some of the last few years with units and operations. So customer pay is a huge focus for us. We believe that training is a big part of that, making sure that we retain our customers. Retention is critical to that element. So just getting the fundamentals correct, I think, is something we're continuously focusing on to drive CP labor.
Richard, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, we look at it and say, if you want to truly be independent, and we're independent businesses, when you start letting warranty creep up to 30, 40, 50% of your revenue, that brings a partnership, the partnership you have with the OEM, to a different level. You are much more subject to their whims. It gives them leverage in your business. And so we try to keep it below 20%. We're real comfortable at about 15% of our business being in warranty. Creeps up to about 20%, and then we need to take a look at where our customer pay and our internal revenue is in proportion to that. It's profitable work. It is, across the industry, we have worked to get our reimbursement rates to a very profitable level, and it's candy, it's junk food that you can get hooked on really fast, and focusing on that it can be profitable in the short term, but when it goes away, when you don't have recalls, when you don't have warranty work, you look around and your service drive is empty. And so if you want to stay truly independent, the solid base that you have to have is customer pay and customer retention.
All right. Paige, I'll send it out to you for a question.
Yeah, I have a question for Salvo. You told my colleague, Richard Truitt, that one of the reasons for your service and parts revenue growth is because you guys have been focusing on promoting value over price. Can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at in general, what we try to focus on is our client advisor, service advisors training, right? There's a lot of discussions always on price. It's price focus. Our customers always look at that as an opportunity to obviously not generate sales, and we focus on measuring how our client advisors are doing. We listen to a lot of phone calls. We have a huge training program around our service advisors because it's hard, right? Overcome objections is not their strength if you don't train to that. It's a big one for us, and we self-recognize that there was a huge opportunity to focus in this area. At the end of the day, you have to remember price can gain a customer one time, but you might lose them the second time if you don't have the customer service aspect of it. It's really important you nail that part of it. They'll keep coming back. So that's a lot of focus on the training program.
And Richard, one of the knocks against service departments is dealership service departments prices. Guy down the street's cheaper, and so I think you're always fighting that price battle. How do you go at Apple Tree Honda? How do you kind of fight that with the customer and kind of let them know that pricing is competitive, but also you've got good technicians, certified technicians, quality OEM parts. How do you kind of fight that pricing battle?
We started about 3 years ago creating a brand image for our service for our Honda and Acura brands that we have. We term it rock solid value. We've got some mountains, we're over here in Western North Carolina. We call it rock solid value. And it is a value proposition. We go to market with all of our competitive services, oil changes, brakes, batteries, all of the things that are easily tangible, comparative things that our customers can, do a Google search and find out how much a battery is, what an alignment is, how much alignment costs. All of those very competitive services, we stay highly competitive. We do market surveys. Shout out to IntelliCheck. They do a fantastic job keeping us aligned with the market. We've actually found that many times we're among the lowest price. So just constantly putting that message out there, the value proposition. And it can be very easy for a customer that's been to an oil change facility and spent $130 on an oil change. When they see us advertise an oil change, a tire rotation, car wash, certified technicians, a video multi-point, all of those things for $99.99 out the door, the value in that becomes very easily discernible for the customer. So being highly competitive on comparative services is how we go to market.
The other thing I like to add, Dan, is, with technology, with video MPIs and digital MPIs, you got to be really mindful of not making it too easy to say no. And texting is one of those platforms. You have to get on the phone with a client, making sure you're driving the sale, right? Not just allowing the customer to decline or approve a job through a text, because that becomes a snowball effect on not selling, so adding value.
Lee, I've been in a lot of M5 service director meetings with you down in Florida, and this is a topic that comes up a lot. How do you advise your folks to kind of, again, fight that battle, that perception of that their dealerships are too expensive or more expensive than the independent down the street?
So I'm going to give you a couple examples. First of all, I do a lot of work with managers and directors, and I always ask a question. As a retail consumer, why should I do business with your service department? And I get 3 answers every time. Factory parts, factory trained technicians, and we got good prices. That carries no weight at all. All right. When there is no perceived value in the transaction, then it is all about price. When it becomes all about price, then we develop discount-itis because we think we're going to get a half a loaf of bread is better than no bread, and all the excuses that you hear. You've got to come up with your value proposition for your store. Now, I'm talking not price and all the superficial things. I want to know details. And when I ask them about a senior master technician, tell me about a senior master technician. Well, a senior master technician in most manufacturers is the highest level of achievement that a technician can achieve, but we never talk about them. The investment that the store has made in special tools. Why did we invest $200,000 in special tools? For what reason? Only one reason, and that is to do the job right the first time. But see, where we miss out is we don't know how to present the extra perceived value and add it to the transaction. And that's what we work on, is helping stores add that extra value to the transaction. And it's, I hear people talk about, and I had a guy call me one time. He says, I want you to train our advisors on how to overcome objections in the service lane. I said, no, we're the wrong company for you. We don't do that. We believe in adding value to the transaction. So the most obvious answer to would you like to have it done is going to be yes. And that's what we focus on.
I want to talk a little bit about customer retention. That's another issue. It kind of goes a little bit along with, pricing and getting those customers to come in. As you all know, the stats show the 3-year warranty ends. 70% of your business is out the door, going somewhere else because, again, they perceive, the independent as being cheaper. But people are holding on to cars longer than ever. I think the age of the vehicle on the road is almost 13 years old now. I think I have 1 or 2 of those vehicles in my driveway. How do you keep those customers from leaving to begin with, and if they have left, how do you get them back? Salvo, I'll start with you. How do you kind of pull them back into the fold?
I mean, we back to some of the discussion we've had earlier, but the culture, right? We got to make sure that our team is prepared for our customers. Their time is valuable, and ensuring they're prepared to ultimately deliver the customer experience. It's super important for us. We see this over and over. We've seen over years that when a customer doesn't have a great experience, they won't not come back to you. Like, you get 1 or 2 chances with a client. So that's the main focus for us, and we've been pretty successful. We've been very successful at it. That this is something we can't get away from. Ensuring our customers are treated properly, the expectations are set and met. It takes a lot of work. It's not easy, to do. It sounds simple, but fundamentals that continue to drive our customers back to us.
Richard, what are your thoughts on this?
The only true measure of the success of a service department is retention. If you're not retaining your customers past that 336, you're not doing your job at all. We constantly focus on that. And when we lose a customer, when we have customers that fall off, we send out something that is very easily perceivable as high value, and invite them to come back in and give us a try if we haven't seen them in a long time. And we also follow that and tie that together, like Salvo says, with the training. And so when a customer comes in with, and they're small batches, it's very targeted marketing. But when somebody comes in with a $29 oil change or something, ridiculous, the advisor is trained to recognize what that is, and then understand why that customer is standing in front of them, and take advantage of a customer that take advantage of the opportunity that's there with that customer that may have not been there for 2 years. There's a lot of opportunity in that car, and there's an opportunity to gain back that customer as a regular customer. So going out, monitoring what's going on, monitoring the retention, setting out a plan to bring them back in, and then tying it together with your staff to recognize those customers and provide the opportunity to gain that customer back by recognizing and training the advisor is certainly something that is part and parcel to what we do every day.
Before I get to Lee, I want to jump in. My good friend Roger Conant sent in the audience question already. Is there a way, Richard, to kind of spiff advisors to reward them for retention? Is that a possible metric to be able to track and reward advisors for that?
We could do a whole segment on that. So first of all, pay. One of my principles is that your pay plan and your job description should be perfectly aligned. We should never be asking anybody to do something that's counter to their pay, whether that's whatever, a parts department person billing something that is negative, or doing an oil change at a loss for a service advisor, things like that. The incentives that are important to the business should be contained in that pay plan, and then that pay plan and job description should be completely lined up. So that's the first part of it for us. And then the second part is, unfortunately, one of the things that we see is that an owner, a GM says, hey, we need effective labor rate. And that goes down to the fixed director, to the service manager. And then next thing you know, we've got a advisor that's got a pay plan line for effective labor rate. And for me, those are metrics that are for management to look at and to guide the business in and make changes, and not a performative thing for a service advisor. So I'm not a huge fan of putting a retention line on a service advisor's pay plan. Got it.
Lee, let's talk about customer retention. How do we keep them coming back?
Well, I think I'm going to pull off of Salvo's comment before we started about culture. All right. Customer retention is not something that you go out and touch everybody's foreheads and all of a sudden they're healed. This is a working every single day mission of life. So I ask silly questions. I ask managers, what is customer retention? Oh, well, you know what it is. It's keeping the customer coming back. Yeah, well, that's a very generalized statement because it doesn't give me the opportunity to focus everybody on the tasks that keep customers coming back. So the first thing I would suggest is that you have a definitive definition of customer retention. What is it? Earning the right to serve a customer a second time based on the level of service provided during the last transaction. Now, a whole bunch of words, but that's what I use. And so once you have it defined, now the leadership kicks in for the department, where now the leadership is like, again, a dog on a bone. It is all about earning that future business. You know, we want to be, we're transactional focused. We're not big picture focused. Our focus and our departments are usually 30 days. All right. We got to be big picture. If we want to get serious about improving retention, we got to make it part of the culture. And that is the holy grail. That's what it's all about. Now, I will say this also, customer retention right now with a lot of the manufacturers is a hot button. And I'm not saying this to be in a line with manufacturers. It's good business. Think about it. If I got two tickets in my hands, one has 7,000 and one's got 70,000 on it, and I ask a technician which one do they want to do, they're going to go 70,000 every time. But what's it take to get them from 7,000 to 70,000?
Yep.
That's what we got to change.
Paige, how about another question?
Yeah, that actually leads really nicely into our next question. So yesterday, we honored Roger Penske with an Automotive News Centennial Award. During a chat at the luncheon, he talked a lot about the importance of good people and culture. Richard, as a department leader, how do you build the type of culture you want in your department?
Well, you have to define what it is. I have to know what that culture, what I want it to be. And for me, it starts with hiring. You have to hire the right people. You've got to train them. You've got to have all of those. You have to have that vision. I have to have that vision, and I have to lead. I have to share it, and I have to lead the team there. But if you don't have a good onboarding process, if you don't have a good selection process that weeds out the people that don't fit and they're not going to be consistent with your vision, that's where it starts for us. Bringing the right people on board, and then, wrapping our arms around them and keeping them as part, getting them part of the program, understanding what we are, who we are, what our values are, and instilling that from day one and being consistent with it. That's how it starts for us.
And do you have monthly check-ins, or how do you kind of keep tabs on everyone to make sure they're doing what you want them to be doing?
Well, I spent a couple hours on the service drive this morning. I spent a lot of time with technicians. Wednesday morning meetings every Wednesday with the advisors, Friday mornings with technicians. Service managers are doing one-on-ones. Wednesday mornings is with department head meetings. Just constantly being out there touching people. We do a couple of yearly, full dealership meetings twice a year, where we talk about where we're going and what we're doing. And then it's just making sure that I don't sit 8 hours in my desk, which sometimes unfortunately is the case, but trying to get out and make sure that I'm inspecting what I expect.
Salvo, it's got to be a little bit tougher for you to go over nearly 60 rooftops at Holman and kind of spread that good culture that you want. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It starts at the top, right? I think as an organization, we take our culture. We actually even have culture days. We have one today, actually, as a company. We thrive on that, being out present, leadership, management, being there for our people, not just always about work, just having discussions with our team members. I mean, it just starts, like I said, with the top leadership, and we've always had a strong buy-in from the company to have a sound culture culture in our businesses, along all Holman businesses. So again, just being present, being there for your team, being visible. It sounds easy, right? But like you said, when there's 60 rooftops, the leadership team makes a note to ensure we're out and about with our teams.
Lee, how do you advise folks to build a good culture in their service departments?
I would tell you it's there's two pieces. One is process. All right. And excuse me, process is not a politically correct statement. It is a way of doing business. As leaders of our business, we've got to lead our people, and we got to define for them what a good job is. Richard talked about that earlier with his job descriptions. You got to define a good job. If as a leader you don't define a good job for your people, then they're out there wandering around trying to figure out what they think a good job is, and that may have got them fired 2 times prior, right? So that's number one. Number two is consistency of process. There has to be a buy-in on the people in the team to buy into the process. Now, a couple of the things that I suggest in building processes, get your people involved, have them sit down with you. We're doing a project where we sat down with the leadership of the project and we got their idea of how the process of interaction with the customer, the key to what we call the key to key process. And they gave us feedback. Then we went and got the online managers. And the whole idea was to get the buy-in from everybody, because we want to be consistently good every single time we step up eyeball to eyeball with that customer.
Paige, let's talk a little bit about technician shortages. You got a question for that?
Yeah, so the technician shortage is a problem everyone here, and I'm sure everyone in the audience is aware of, and it's been an ongoing issue for years. Let's start with Salvo. How is Holman attacking this issue?
Yeah, so we, as a company, this is, again, like you said, has been a challenge in the industry for quite a bit. And really it started by serving our technicians, understanding some of their challenges we've had, even people that have left the company, why, discovering why. We've been spending a lot of time on our technicians, building career plans for our technicians. One of the areas we were challenged and faced that we didn't understand what they meant when they said, hey, I want to grow my career. And we automatically assume they all want to be service managers, but really it's about their specialized trade, right? Becoming a B-level technician or an A-level technician. So we've added resources. We actually have 5 technician development advisors, one in each region, that specifically spends time building training plans, career plans with each manager for all technicians, ensuring everybody gets one. And working with them to see the opportunities to make them better, more successful. And again, it's just giving them the attention that they deserve and the time they deserve to. So that's one fold. We've been really successful retaining our employees. Like if you're hiring 100 and you're losing 100, you're not getting anywhere. So the main pillar for us was, let's start retaining our technicians. And I'm proud to say that, as a company right now, we're below 10%. I think that's a solid number for us. And we're continuing working hard on that.
Wow. Richard, how bad is the technician shortage for you? Have you got all your base full?
We actually we have a really good technician training program in-house. We created a curriculum, a career path, and as we hire technicians, we actually quit hiring lube techs and express techs, and we hire entry-level technicians now. They do a good solid year in express. We give them a career path that goes from there. We spend a year training them, getting their online testing done. From there, we send them to mentor with a salaried shop foreman. That lasts about 3 months. Then we apprentice them with one of our master technicians for probably another 6 weeks. Monitor their progress, and by the time that they graduate through that process, they're already turning 40, 50 hours, and one of the most inconsequential days in their career is when we switch them over to a full flat rate technician, because they're already 120% productive at that point. In the last 18 months, we have graduated 9 technicians onto the line through that program.
Wow, great. And it seems like it's the way to do it is you got to mentor them, and like Salvo said, you got to show them a roadmap. This is what your career can look like here, and here are the steps, and we'll kind of hold your hand along this journey and get you to where you need to be, and that I think goes a long way to retaining the folks that you have. Lee, is this issue ever going to be solved? Is this going to be kind of an ongoing battle that dealerships will always kind of be facing?
I hope it's something that we are always facing. And the reason why I say that is because if we're always facing this, then our business is growing. And, you know, a lot of these stores, when I talked about customer pay, part of their issue is that they're not expanding their technical staff. And so it's an opportunity to grow the business with the techs. Now, the one thing I would ask everybody to consider is that a lot of people are focused on adding the apprentice techs, and I think that is an awesome idea. But there's still a lot of technicians out there that right now at this moment are throwing their tools and are mad at the world, you know, working in the environment that they're in. And they're very, very good technicians and can be a real asset to the store. And I wouldn't close the door on that. I would still look for ways to communicate to them through ads, through, you know, whether it's an online ad. We do a lot of work with, you know, different providers in hiring the additional techs, and we get good results. But you know, there's a lot of stores out there that are still a bunch of what I call jugheads, that they're considering the technicians as second-class citizens, and that's just wrong. You know, the technician's the smartest person in the store, hands down, no exception. And some of these people are in bad environments and they want to get out, but they don't know where to go. I think there's an opportunity there for a lot of us too.
Lee, I guess that adds to the culture piece, right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
that's the most important thing.
I really think, Salvo, that people go to work for companies based on culture. And what happens in my travels and the people that I talk to is that, you know, well, they want this much an hour. I said, if you're talking about hourly rates, you're wrong. How do you sell your culture? And when I start talking to managers about this, I take them through and I help them build a PowerPoint presentation on how to sell their business to the prospective employee. I was in a store not long ago with a 30-year veteran service director, and he goes, hey, I got a guy down here I need to talk to. So he brings him up, sits him down, talks to him, and first thing they want to talk about is hourly rate. And I'm like, no. Don't get into that. Sell your culture. Have them interview with the technicians that you have. Let the technicians sell the prospective new hire technician on why they should go to work here. I think we're missing out on an opportunity in a lot of stores. And I'm not saying this is the answer, by no means, but it's in addition to the fine programs that Salvo and Richard were talking about. I mean, those all work. But there's also additional technicians out there that you could hire, and there are onesies here and onesies there. You're not going to get a big group of them, but you got to keep your radar up and you got to keep looking. You never stop looking. You're always advertising. You're always looking to grow your business.
Yeah, there's not one feeder, right? It's
No, not at all. And there's no magic pill to this. It requires work. We got to work at this every single day. And we got to keep grinding every day. And I think a lot of people, because of the change in our business, they forgot how to grind. I mean, we got to get up every day and we got to grind. As an online manager, you got to be grinding every single day. How am I going to grow my business? How am I going to increase the business?
The single biggest factor in your ability for throughput is your technician headcount. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, you can put more. There's more out there. You can schedule more appointments. There's business there, but if you don't have the horses, you got nothing to ride. So it's where I started. I started as a technician in this business a whole lot of years ago, but it's the basis of your throughput, 100%.
I'm working on a project that I'm doing some research on, and the aftermarket is continuing to grow. As an industry, they are growing, and they're growing leaps and bounds. And where's that business coming from? Us. And we're giving it up. And unfortunately, we're giving it up because we're chasing those gross dollars and those new high hourly rates that we have. And we're missing out on the mission of life here. Keep the customer coming back and grow the business. That's what it's about.
100%.
Richard talked a little bit about throughput, and along those lines a little bit, Mobile service, continues to be something that is often discussed, but it doesn't seem like a lot of folks do it. I know Ford has been on board for a long time and kind of supporting their dealership body with vans and the equipment needed. GM and Stellantis both this year kind of talked about upping their game a little bit. I think we have a recent story that said maybe just a very small percentage, less than 5%, I want to say, do mobile service of the dealership service departments. Salvo, what's at Holman? Do you have a lot of mobile service capabilities there?
No, the only brands we really do mobile service with is our Ford stores and our Sprinter van, Mercedes Sprinter van service. But we really haven't really dabbled too much into the other brands. Just not been on our radar. And like I said, we did the OEM thing with Ford. It's been successful, right? I think it's doing what, with the incentive money that we're giving back to it, it makes it a little bit, makes it worth it. But we have not expanded that line.
Is it a matter of cost and just the startup or finding technicians to be on those vans? What are some of the, from the people who I know who do it, and they do it well, and they're both feet are into it. Is it just a matter of commitment and just the expense of it?
I think it's just a commitment. I think we're so focused in our stores. We have a lot of technicians in our stores, and hiring people haven't been so difficult for us. We found competent people to do the mobile service. It's just been the commitment from our side.
Do you do much service pickup and delivery? Is that
we do quite a bit. We do quite a bit of that, right? I think COVID made us experts in pickup and delivery. We do, we do 15-20% across the nation pickup and delivery. With some mile range, it's restrictions, but for the most part, we want to give flexibility to our customers and ensuring that they can, we don't have loaner cars. We give them that flexibility option.
Yeah. Richard, what are your thoughts on mobile service?
We are, we're about to put the pen to the check. We've been developing the program for over a year now, and we are worked with Honda. We're working with the supplier, the upfitter. We've built out the whole thing on paper. We're getting ready to write the check for the vans right now as we speak. We're going to be one of
breaking news. This is good stuff.
Yeah, we're a big believer in it. We have a great retention rate. It's a very high retention rate, but the thinking is that it doesn't matter how great you are at service, how great your service advisors are to interact with, how nice your tile floors are and the marble in your bathroom. If I can have it done and not have to get on the interstate, drive over to the dealership and sit and wait for 2 hours, I'm going to meet you there at your driveway and do it for you. And the people that have committed to it have found a lot of success. And I think that the commitment part of it, we're starting to see a flip where retailing the vehicle is a retention tool for the service department at this point. And as that resource, as that paradigm shifts, it's much easier conversation to say, hey, I need X amount of $100,000 to get this program going. Where a couple of years or a couple of decades ago, hey, I need we're going to go out on our own and do something that's, out of the norm, and it's going to require capital and resources. The ownership, the governance of the store, probably very hesitant to do so. But as we see that the basis of the business is focused on fixed at this point, it's much easier to have those conversations and get buy-in.
Yeah. And some of you probably all know Ed Roberts over at Bozard, told me once about when they're, they have several mobile trucks, and he said, the customer calls and says, I got a problem with my F-150. And they say, well, it might be like a week before I can get you in, or I can send someone to your house tomorrow. How about that? And of course, the customer's like, yes, please. Lee, mobile service, again, seems like another great retention tool, meeting the customer where they are. That people love to throw that phrase around.
Sure.
What are you hearing from folks out in the field about mobile service? And again, it doesn't seem like a wide adoption, but it seems like it could be a great tool for folks.
I think it's a wonderful tool. I think that I would say to you that this is one of the few things that I would ever sit in front of you and say you got to do, but you got to be in mobile service. Google in your local community mobile mechanics. They're everywhere. It's growing leaps and bounds. Now, the thing that I like the most about mobile service is that when you analyze why customers buy from us or don't buy from us, one of the biggest challenges on why they don't buy from us, and frankly, because why they defect from us, is convenience. It's mobile service is all about convenience. And if you look at why customers buy, they have a need is number one. Number two is they buy based on convenience. If we can be more convenient to our clients, we're going to get a lot more business. The biggest challenge that I see with mobile service is they don't know how to make money with it. You know, we always have to have a profit proposition in everything that we do. And, you know, I've got a pro forma for mobile service that I would share with anybody that allows you to go through and see exactly what it takes to make money with mobile service. And there is a lot of money that's out there that can be made, but it gives your store a whole new dimension. To your point, Dan, I'll send somebody out tomorrow. All right, well, I'm not going to be at work. Could you send them to the country club? Absolutely. Sure. You know, that's what makes this thing so unique and so different. And I think we need to get on the front end of this thing and really get serious about it. I think it's up and coming. If your manufacturer doesn't have it, I'd recommend you doing it yourself. Yeah. And you can do it. It's very easily done.
And customers are there's an expectation of convenience these days, you know, the Amazonification, I guess, of customer service. People expect
Amazon's ruined our world because everybody wants it when they get it, or want it now. And what Amazon does is they always tell you when you're going to get it. So they set an expectation, and we won't do that in stores. If an advisor give a commitment to the customer on when something was going to be done, their tongues would explode.
Lee, I got a question on the mobile. Do you mind, Dan, on
sure,
the mobile
absolutely.
service? You said earlier, or maybe it was Dan, on the capacity issue, right? If you have a capacity struggle, you give them option B, mobile service. Is that the same logic we use when you have you have no restrictions at your stores, the same day appointments, you want people to walk in? Would that be the same philosophy from your perspective?
I would do, even if you had that, Salvo, I would do mobile service even with that because of the convenience. And I think what I would try and do is, if you're in a position where you can handle business now, I'd go after the customers who defected and, print out a copy of customers who haven't been back for a year or 18 months and send them direct mailers and offer that service to them and try and get them reacquainted. I think it's a great customer retention tool, and I think it's a great recruiting tool for new customers. And I'd put it in every parade. I'd do like some of these junk dealers do, and park it out in a busy road and park it right there along the road so they see it. Yeah. But I would get in it.
Well, and just to bring that home, Salvo, we're involving other departments. We're developing an F&I product as well, so that it becomes part of the sales process.
Great idea.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
We looked at that ourselves too during a strategy session.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Richard, Jennifer in the audience asked about what the kind of software you use for mobile service and for the scheduling and kind of keeping track on that.
So we've been working with Troy Blackwell at Spiffy. Spiffy's one of the very well-known upfitters. They have, as part of the van, with the upfit with the vans that you purchase, there's a software subscription for scheduling. It's a logistics scheduling tool that integrates with Reynolds, and we are a Reynolds DMS dealer.
Got it. Thank you. So we're almost out of time. This time has flown by for us here, but I want to make sure that you all know about an important event that is coming up. You won't want to miss the 2025 Automotive News Congress, where you will hear more great conversations like this one. Confirmed keynote speakers include General Motors Chair and CEO Mary Barra and Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Yu-Sin Chung. And you can buy your tickets at autonewsevents.com. Come to the Motor City and see me, hang out. It's a great event. So, Paige, we got time for one more question.
Yeah, this is changing topics a little bit, but I'm curious, Richard and Salvo specifically, how have you guys integrated AI into your service department processes?
Richard, you want to go? Go ahead, Richard.
So there's a lot of automation and algorithm that is masquerading as AI. So you have to really define what AI is. We have a scheduler. We have a scheduler on our website that is a very basic tool that has made making appointments with us so much easier, and it's certainly improved our operations through doing that. We are interviewing and talking to several companies right now about an automated attendant that is a conversational AI, and we're not sure that the technology is fully developed at this point. And when you have such a high interaction with your customers at such a critical touch point, we're not sure that conversational AI agent is quite there yet. There's an inevitability in it. I do believe. I don't know that you're going to be able to sell a car, but you can certainly call in and schedule an appointment with a conversational AI. So that is probably the next iteration of what we're doing. And then we've got some tools that are independent silos that we're working with a developer to try to leverage those tools together. And I'm not sure if that's really going to be AI or if it's just going to be, algorithms that are, mashing those two things together. So, but there's a lot of algorithm-based stuff that is masquerading itself as AI, and true AI, conversational AI, like an attendant, is certainly out on the cutting edge, but it's something that we are exploring right now.
Yeah, I will agree with Richard here. It's the algorithms, how we use it now, AI. It's just really a conversational piece to ensure appointments and whatnot. But we are looking at AI technology hard. We were investing a lot of time and resources in this. We think there's a lot going on in the AI space that we're probably a little bit behind right now, and we just need to invest the time. We are looking at some other partners also with our scheduling systems to go through our appointments, ensuring that the client services are in there, things like that, and ensuring our appointments are 100% efficient and accurate for when the customer comes in. So again, more to come here. It's just there's a lot there with AI.
Yeah, it seems like there's great benefit to it, but it's difficult, I think, for people to know where to start, where to begin, and what else is going on. Lee, what you hear much from your folks when you are on the road that are trying to integrate AI into their processes?
AI is a topic of conversation, but to Richard and Salvo's point, it's not worked out yet. There's a lot of dabbling in it, and a lot of people are experimenting with it. We do see it in some phone calls where the background, if they can't answer the calls, that AI will take care of some of them. We see a little bit of that, but not too much beyond that.
Good stuff. Well, that'll have to do it for today. I want to thank again our sponsor, Dealer Merchant Services, for their support. Thanks so much. Thanks also to our Congress Conversations studio team right here, Rudy Shork, my fellow Spartan, Tierra Riddick, go green, and Terry Kozdraski. A special thank you, of course, to our guest, Richard Lupo, Fixed Ops Director at Apple Tree Honda, Salvo Sparacio, Senior Vice President of After Sales at Holman. Safe travels down to North Carolina.
Thanks.
And Lee Harkins, CEO of M5 Management Services. Hopefully I will see you in September. We really appreciate your time and perspective. That was great stuff. And for Paige Hodder and everyone here at Automotive News, I'm Dan Shine. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.